We are going to have a little bit of information about translation services that are available today. And after we hear from Lieutenant Governor Hashmi, we're going to have some more music. But I just want to say good morning to everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's give a round of applause. I want to invite Ms. Hernandez with the Virginia Language Justice Collective to share details about the available translation from English to Spanish that's going to be happening today. So let's welcome her up, and then we're going to start the program.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Joan, uso los pronombres de ella y voy a ser una de las intérpretes. Estoy aquí junto con mi colega Jenny, que también usa los pronombres de ella, ellas.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joanne. I'm going to be one of your interpreters. I use she pronouns, and I'm here with my colleague Jenny, that's me, and I use she and they pronouns.
Entonces vamos a darles algunas pautas muy rapiditas así para cómo nos pueden apoyar con la interpretación.
And we're going to give you all some really quick directions on how you all can support us with interpretation today.
Entonces, así sí, de repente cuando empieza hablamos muy rápido, los intérpretes no pueden seguir el mismo paso. Entonces, cuando eso sucede, vamos a pedir que hable más despacio así.
Sometimes when we're speaking really fast and the interpreters can't keep up with what we're saying. So if that's happening, we're going to do this hand signal, which is asking you to slow down.
Somos un grupo bastante grande y viendo en diferentes direcciones, entonces si nos ven que estamos haciendo la señal, pedimos que por favor lo repitan con nosotros. Podemos practicar rapidito.
We're a large group of people, so maybe the speaker might not be able to see the interpreter if we're asking them to slow down. So if you see one of the interpreters doing that hand signal, we ask that you also do it with us. So we can just go ahead and practice just doing this hand signal. That means slow down.
Igual, a veces estamos hablando muy bajito, no podemos escuchar, o estamos muy lejos de un micrófono.
No, I know. Sometimes we're a little nervous that we're speaking very, very softly, or we're really far away from the mic, and the interpreter can't hear us.
Entonces, cuando suceda, vamos a hacer esta señal pidiendo que hablen más alto.
So when that happens, we're going to do this hand signal, asking you to speak up.
Entonces, y sí, como intérpretes solo podemos interpretar una voz a la vez y no queremos darle más privilegio a otra voz por encima de otra. Entonces, como un recordatorio para una voz, un micrófono a la vez, vamos a hacer esta señal.
And sometimes we get really, really excited and start speaking over one another. However, as interpreters, we can only interpret one voice at a time. So if that happens, we're going to do this hand signal, asking you to please speak one person at a time.
Y sé que ya para empezar el evento que podemos pedir así que por favor adoramos y apoyamos el Spanglish, pero para ayudar con el flujo de interpretación que hablen solo en un idioma por oración. Y si te podemos evitar los acrónimos, por favor, o nomás decir las palabras completas una vez para la interpretación.
And we love and support Spanglish. However, for interpretation purposes, we ask that you please stick to one sentence per language. And if you use any acronyms, please share the complete words once for interpretation because acronyms don't really work in another language.
Solo vamos a dar equipo para las personas que hablan español, entonces si se pueden acercar para este lado para recoger su dispositivo.
Only Spanish speakers have equipment. I don't think I need to say this in English, but if you need equipment for our Spanish speakers, then just reach out to us. Over there we have equipment that we can hand out to you.
Muchas gracias y disfruten su evento.
Thank you so much and enjoy the event.
Thank you again so much, everybody, for being here. My name is Jessica Sims. I'm the Virginia Field Coordinator for Appalachian Voices. And we are so excited to be here this morning in this moment in the urgency of advocating for affordable, clean energy. Today's event is hosted by a partnership of organizations, so I want to give a shout out to all of them. Appalachian Voices, Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund, CASA, Community Climate Collaborative, Environmental Defense Fund Action, Mothers Out Front, New Virginia Majority, Sierra Club Virginia Chapter, Third Act Virginia, Virginia Conservation Network, the Virginia League of Conservation Voters, and Virginia Organizing. And we are so grateful to each of them. So let's say a thank you to all of our partners that made today's program happen. We're going to hear thank our musicians that are with us, Timothy Lett, Pete Anderson, and Stefan Dimitriadis. We know affordability is top of mind for communities across the Commonwealth as Virginians navigate rising costs for health care, groceries, and utility bills. We know the more that we rely on volatile fossil fuels, the more our electricity bills will increase as the cost of fuel rises and out-of-date infrastructure continues to run. When we shift to cleaner, cheaper, renewable energy, we all pay less in our monthly bills and can invest in more reliable sources of energy. More reliable ones like solar, wind, battery storage. Those that reduce pollution that harms Virginians and helps break the cycle of fossil fuel dependency. That's why your presence here today is so important. As we say to all of our elected officials and decision makers, and to our neighbors and friends, that we want a healthier, safer, and more reliable clean energy future. So with that, I'm elated to introduce our first speaker. She's been a leader in the fight for environmental justice, for protections for our natural world, for all of our health, all of our communities, and for a clean energy future that is just and affordable. She has served her community for decades as an educator, for 6 years as a state senator, and now makes history as the first Muslim and South Asian woman to hold statewide office in Virginia. And as the first Muslim woman to hold statewide office in the United States. Lieutenant Governor AQOqkGazuAL0IvOfM0J
Wow, I've never had that happen. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Jessica, for the introduction. Thank you to all the organizations that are here today. Thank you to everyone who's standing up on so many critical issues, and just the breadth of the organizations, the diversity of the organizations is the clear indication that climate issues, environmental issues, the concerns about affordability for our energy needs, all of that is united. It's impacting all of us. And you know what happened in Virginia in November? We sent a clear signal that Virginians wanted change. They want us to get back into Reggie. They want us to fight for to fulfill our goals on meeting the needs for clean energy. And that's exactly what we're going to do as we work hard these next 4 years in this administration to fulfill the promise that we began decades ago, that we know that we have to leave a better world for our children. That is true justice. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I just want to talk about a couple of things that are so deeply connected to Virginia's future, and that is affordable clean energy as well as corporate accountability. And these aren't abstract policy goals. They affect the cost of living for families. They affect the health of our communities and the strength of our economy. Virginia is at a pivotal moment in its energy transition. We've made some important commitments to move toward cleaner sources of power, but ambition alone is not enough. So without strong legislative leadership, the benefits of clean energy risk flowing only to a few individuals and corporations, while the costs and burdens fall on everyone else. So affordable clean energy means more than just reducing carbon emissions. It means lowering monthly utility bills for working families. It means investing in energy efficiency so that our homes stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer without breaking the bank. It means expanding access to rooftop solar, to community solar projects and modernized grids so that our rural areas and our small towns and our low-income communities are not left behind. Legislative priorities matter because markets alone do not guarantee fairness. Clear policies can ensure that clean energy incentives are designed with equity in mind, that utilities are encouraged to innovate rather than delay, that energy efficiency programs reach the households that need them the most. And when it's done right, clean energy investment creates local jobs, it strengthens energy independence, and it protects public health by reducing pollution-related illnesses. So in short, affordable, clean energy is not just an environmental issue, it's a kitchen table issue. And Virginia's legislature has a responsibility to make sure that clean energy transition works for everyone. And so that comes to our second point on corporate accountability. A strong economy depends on businesses that play by the rules. And while many do, when accountability is weak, the consequences are felt by workers, they're felt by consumers, as well as communities all across the Commonwealth. So corporate accountability means transparency in decision-making, fair treatment of employees and workers, and responsibility for environmental and financial impacts. It means ensuring that companies benefiting from public resources, benefiting from the tax incentives or ratepayer dollars, are also meeting clear standards of conduct and performance. So strong legislative oversight helps prevent abuses of power or price manipulation or harmful cost shifting onto consumers. It ensures that penalties for misconduct are meaningful and not just the cost of doing business. And it reinforces the idea that long-term economic success comes from responsible growth, not from short-term profit at public expense. And this is so especially important in sectors like energy, where monopolies or highly concentrated markets can limit consumer choices. Corporate accountability protects families from unjustified rate hikes, protects workers from unsafe conditions, and our communities from environmental harm. So these two priorities, affordable clean energy and corporate accountability, are deeply interconnected. And a clean energy transition without accountability risks becoming unfair and extractive. Accountability without forward-thinking energy policy risks locking Virginia into outdated systems that no longer serves our needs. And this is where legislative leadership will be necessary to align, setting clear goals, enforcing them consistently, and making sure that our public interests are front and center. So this is our moment to act, not just for today's challenges, but for the generations who are going to inherit the decisions that we are making today in Virginia. Thank you so much for your advocacy, your work.
You would love to have one.
Let's hear it again for our amazing Lieutenant Governor GazuAL0IvOfM0J. So before we continue with our incredible our incredible lineup of speakers, I want to make a couple of housekeeping announcements. The burritos are here, so if you are hungry, can the burrito area raise their hands? I think it's back there. I also, again, want to thank each of you for being here, and I want to thank some of the climate champions that we have from the legislature that are now here. So I just want to do a round of applause for Delegate Rich Sullivan. If there are any other elected officials in the audience, please shout out. We appreciate you, and thank you to the staff of those offices that have come down this morning. So I see some of y'all. Thank you. All right, let's keep going with this energizing morning. I'm excited for us to hear from our next speaker to reflect on the important moment that we are in. That is Mike Town, the Executive Director of the Virginia League of Conservation Voters. He has over 29 years of experience working in the conservation community, and that means both at state and national conservation organizations, and he has helped lead the call for affordable clean energy in Virginia. We are so excited to hear from him today. Let's welcome Mike Town.
I've never had that happen either. That's great. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? All right. I want to thank you all for being here on this very chilly morning. We should probably looking at a little cup half full, though. I think we're about to get a couple feet of snow potentially this weekend, so I'm glad it's today and not next Tuesday. I also want to give special thanks to our incredible Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Governor Hashmi. I know she left, for addressing us all today. More importantly, thank you for your years of continued strong leadership on these very important issues facing the Commonwealth and our communities. And as Jess said, thank you, Jess. I'm Mike Town, the Executive Director of the Virginia League of Conservation Voters. And yes, I have been doing this a long time. And we've made a lot of progress in that long time, but we have a long, long way to go. Virginia voters delivered a powerful message this past November. They demanded that our political leaders work to make life more affordable. They demanded that we reject the politics of division and chaos and ensure a safer and kinder democracy that works for every Virginian, that respects the rule of law, puts the needs of people over the needs of corporations or the wants of corporations, and that protects our environment and makes our electricity cheaper and cleaner. That's what voters said this past November. None of us should be surprised. It's not a surprise to any of us here, because we feel the frustration and the hopelessness when we get our electric bill, when we pay our mortgage and our rent, and when we go to the grocery store. We understand what it's like to perpetually struggle to make ends meet. And we see the clear hypocrisy when our president overthrows another government to steal their oil so that his big oil executive friends can make billions of dollars. When he does this 2 weeks after canceling offshore wind projects up and down the East Coast, including right here in Virginia. That's right. Those projects would make electricity cheaper for millions of everyday Americans. We see that hypocrisy. And yet we feel hope and promise when Virginia's newly elected governor declares in her first remarks in office that we will make the data center companies pay their fair share, that we will rejoin the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, and that we will build the clean energy we need right here in Virginia, make our homes more efficient, and lower our electric bills for Virginian families in the process. I feel that promise of what's ahead this legislative session and beyond, and I hope you feel it as well, because this is our moment. Virginia has the governor we need and the legislature we need. They have the will, they have the power, and now we gave them the mandate. We're going to hold big corporations accountable, making sure they do pay their fair share. We're going to make sure utilities are held accountable for their actions and for meeting Virginia's climate standards. We're not going to roll those back. We're going to ensure that we are meeting our tremendous energy needs on the backs of cheaper, cleaner energy and leaving our fossil fuel legacy in the past. And we're going to meet these challenges head on while bringing down the cost of electricity for every Virginia family. But our opponents, they still have power, and they have desire, and their pockets are deep. And they will be using their power, using their endless financial resources, using fear and using misinformation to convince our wonderful lawmakers to give them what they want at your and my expense.
Right, that's right.
What they don't have, though, what they don't have on their side is you. You are their kryptonite. You here in this crowd, your friends, your neighbors, our collective advocacy, the expertise in this crowd, our passion, our persistence, that's what's going to shape our future. We've made so much progress together already over decades of hard work by many in this right here, standing with us. We have a long, long way to go. Let's together meet this moment. Let's continue that fight, that good fight, to bring the change we need, the change we and our neighbors so desperately demanded on Election Day. Thank you.
just happened in a House subcommittee this morning. The delegates have taken the next step to get us back into the regional greenhouse gas initiative. We know Virginia loves Reggie, and this is our next step to getting back in it. So thanks to everyone who's been doing tremendous advocacy on that issue. All right, I am very excited to introduce our next speaker, Rosie Saavedra, who is a proud community leader and member of CASA. CASA is an immigrant organization with over 170,000 Latino, Black, immigrant, and working class members across 46 states. It combines services, community organizing, and advocacy to ensure that communities are heard and have the tools they need to fully participate in society. Rosie's originally from Mexico and now lives in Chesterfield County. Welcome, Rosie!
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here this whole morning. My name is Rosie Saavedra. I'm original from Mexico. I live here in Chesterfield County, Virginia, and I'm proudly a member of CASA. CASA is a national membership-led organization that fights for immigrant rights, working families, racial justice, equality, and inclusion, including all our families who continue to be oppressed on this very country we call home. Can you hear me? All right, today I raised my voice because talking about affordable clean energy is not just about the climate. It's about dignity, health, and whether a family can pay their electricity bills without having to sacrifice food, rent, or medicine. For many working families in Virginia, electricity bill is already too high. And when the clean energy transition does not put affordability at the center, it's always the same communities, immigrants, low-income families, and communities of color who end up paying the price. As people who inhabit this planet, it is our human right to live in a safe and a livable place to live, where all the community, including immigrants community, can thrive. Today we face a climate emergency driven by system of capitalism, colonialism, and imperialism that has placed profit over human life. This crisis has already displaced more than 70 million people worldwide, including 13 million children, and 140 million more are expected to be displaced in the coming decades. That's why I say clearly and without hesitation, climate justice is migrant justice. CASA's restorative vision is protecting our planet and the people who live in it. We fight for clean air, safe water, green infrastructure, and green economy that lowers cost, creates good, signified jobs, and ensure that clean energy is accessible to all families, not just for those who can afford it. Today we call on Virginia leaders. Yes, we want water, we want clean energy, but it must be truly affordable and must rely families, not burden them with more debts. It must protect our community to leave them behind, because we deserve a future filled with hope for our children and grandchildren. Virginia deserves a future affordable clean energy for all. We can. Yes, se puede.
Thank you so much, Rosie. Let's hear it again for Rosie. I'm very excited to announce our final speaker for today before we do a group photo and another group activity. But I want to introduce Monica Hutchinson, who is an incredibly impactful community organizer and political strategist who has spent nearly a decade building power from the ground up across the Commonwealth. She advocates for family-centered issues like paid leave, elder care, child care, living. Congratulations and welcome, Monica!
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Good morning. Yes, my name is Monica Hutchison. I am the president for Henrico NAACP. And thank you for inviting me, right? So let's get started. The cost of delaying the transition from fossil fuels to clean energy is not abstract, and it is not in the future. It is already being paid every day by our communities, our economy, and our health. Every year, we remain dependent on fossil fuels. We lock in higher energy bills, more pollution, and greater vulnerability to extreme weather. Families are paying the price through the rising utility costs, medical expenses tied to asthma and heart disease, and rebuilding after floods, hurricanes, and heat waves that grow more destructive each year. These are not natural disasters. They are predictable consequences of inaction. Delaying the transition also costs us economically. Clean energy is no longer a distant opportunity. It is one of the fastest growing sectors in the world. Every year, we hesitate, we forfeit jobs, innovation, and investment to other regions that are moving faster and smarter. Yeah. We spend billions propping up aging fossil fuel infrastructure instead of modernizing our grid, strengthening energy independence, and keeping energy dollars in our local communities. There is also a moral cost. Black, low-income, and other communities of color bear the heaviest burden of pollution and climate impacts, despite contributing the least to the problem. Delay deepens these inequities and signals that some lives are more expendable than others. The truth is simple. Delaying the clean energy transition does not save money. It multiplies costs. It narrows our choices, increases our risks, and leaves future generations with fewer options and greater damage to repair. We do not lack the technology. We do not lack the workforce. What we cannot afford is continued delay. The cost of action is an investment. The cost of inaction is a debt. One we are already passing down with interest. Let's be honest and completely clear. Virginians are hurting. This one big ugly bill, which canceled billions of dollars of investment in clean energy projects, mandates oil and gas exploration, and repeals clean energy programs helping drive our clean energy transition. So today, I urge our legislators to pass legislation in favor of clean and renewable energy, bills that will save us and future generations from the extremely high cost of fossil fuel energy.
You're welcome.
Got a surprise. Thank you, Monica, first of all. I mentioned before, and I see Councilwoman Jordan here too. Thank you so much. We want to celebrate clean energy champions, and we've got one behind us, Delegate Rip Sullivan, champion of the Virginia Clean Economy Act. So I want to invite him and welcome him to share some words this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Hey, wait a minute. Where's my trumpet? Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. It is great to be with you, albeit a little bit cold. You know, Monica is right. For the last 4 years, we've been stuck in neutral here in Virginia. We've made some modest gains when it comes to clean energy and a clean economy, but we've been standing in place for the most part. And I have said on the floor several times, I'm going to say it here again. If the last administration had spent just half of the energy, pardon the pun, half of the energy and half of the focus on trying to meet our goals as they spent trying to tear down the Clean Economy Act and take us backwards on energy, if we focused and spent our time and effort over the last 4 years, we would be much further along on our transition, and we would be in a much better place as Virginians. That administration is over, and we have a new administration in town. And it was wonderful to hear Lieutenant Governor Hashmi talk about the plans that this administration has to move forward, and I can tell you, at least this legislator has plans to turbocharge what we're doing on clean energy and get back on track here in Virginia towards a clean economy. So I've got work to do, the governor's got work to do, and so do you. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all you've done in the past, and buckle up for doing even more in the future, because we are ready to start moving forward again here in Virginia and take our place as a leader in clean energy and clean economy in the country and indeed in the world. So thanks for being here. Let's get to work.
Thank you so much, Delegate Sullivan. Okay. All right, folks. So we're going to shift into a different part of the program that involves all of you. But first to say we are so grateful. We're going to enjoy some music while we do this next part and assembles. So for anyone who would like to join in, we're going to take a group picture. This back here behind the camera, and everyone is invited. And while we are gathering for that, we're going to hear some great more music. Want to remind everybody of the burritos on the side there and hot coffee to try and stay warm. And if you are energized, you are here this morning, you're making a day of it in Richmond, we want to invite you to come with us to the General Assembly building and to advocate for clean energy with your elected officials. So after our group picture, we're going to come back. I'll come back on microphone and announce that. But let's say thank you to all of our speakers, Lieutenant Governor Hashmi, Mike Town, Rosie Saavedra. We are so grateful for what all of us have shared today, what our speakers shared, and the great energy that y'all are bringing to today. So thank you so much for caring about Virginia communities, Virginia's future, and advocating for affordable, clean energy. Let's say it together. Affordable, clean energy. All right, so the band's going to start playing, and that's sort of our musical chairs cue to gather for a group picture with everybody we can fit in behind this camera. So let the music begin.